Throughout his extraordinary 5-decade career, his work consistently reflected a profound commitment to authenticity and the pursuit of larger truths. By choosing roles that depicted resilience in the face of ethical dilemmas, his performances offered audiences more than mere entertainment. They resonated deeply with what it meant to grapple with moral complexities. Whether portraying a steadfast everyman standing against corruption, or a quiet outsider fighting for what was right, his characters embodied values that transcended time and cultural shifts. His ability to infuse moments of profound vulnerability even into strong characters added layers of humanity rarely seen on screen, allowing audiences to relate and empathize more profoundly with the struggles his on-screen personas faced. The understated depth he brought to these roles set a standard for cinematic storytelling, marrying simplicity with nuance, and left a timeless blueprint for what character-driven performances could achieve. Born on May 16, 1905, in Grand Island, Nebraska, Henry James Fonda was the son of William Bryce Fonda, a printer, and Elma Jane Fonda, a homemaker. His family later relocated to Omaha, Nebraska, where his father established a successful printing business. Raised in a household rooted in hard work and modest values, his early life in the Midwest deeply influenced his perspective on life. The simplicity and sincerity of his upbringing in small-town America played a significant role in grounding his later illustrious career. Surrounded by Nebraska's tranquil landscapes and growing up amidst a community marked by resilience, Fonda developed a strong sense of work ethic and perseverance. As a young boy, Fonda experienced a nurturing environment, yet certain aspects of his youth were shaped by the strict religious beliefs of his family, who were devout Christian Scientists. This faith influenced their lifestyle and fostered in Fonda a sense of resourcefulness and self-reliance. The family's shift to Omaha in his early childhood exposed Fonda to the bustling town life, but his connection to the more rural ethos of Grand Island never left him. The contrast between these environments expanded his understanding of people and shaped his innate ability to portray authentic, relatable characters in his later career. Despite the grounding influence of his small-town upbringing, Fonda's formative years also revealed a natural curiosity and sensitivity. These traits would lead him to explore the broader complexities of human emotions and ultimately inspire his journey into the arts. Though his life in Omaha was stable and surrounded by family warmth, it was marked by an understated restlessness, a yearning to seek meaning beyond the physical and emotional comforts of his childhood home. His early exposure to the unfolding dramas of Midwest life gave him experiences he would later draw upon in stage and film roles that resonated deeply with audiences. Known to be quiet and introspective as a child, Fonda's demeanor reflected the steady, grounded lifestyle of his community. From a young age, he showed an interest in people, often observing the interactions, vulnerabilities, and strengths of those around him. These human connections helped shape his later ability to provide depth to the roles he played. Similarly, the stability afforded by his parents, who emphasized values over material wealth, fostered in him a perseverance and honesty that carried through his life. Stories from his childhood often highlight a boy who was respectful of his parents, while also curious about the possibilities beyond the simple world he knew. The cultural tapestry of Nebraska in the early 20th century, with its mixture of rugged individualism and deep family bonds, set the stage for Fonda's future development. His upbringing revealed traces of the everyman characters he would be celebrated for portraying. His parents' emphasis on hard work was key to shaping his habits, and the unassuming, steady life encouraged a grounded lifestyle. As his childhood adventures came to an end, Fonda carried within him the seeds of the earnest, principled demeanor that would mark not only his career, but his public image as well. Because the web scraping results returned an incomplete response, I'll compile a detailed narrative based solely on the search findings provided previously to create a rich and thorough text about Henry Fonda's family background and their relocation to Omaha. Here's the text through the lens of family legacy and local influence. Henry Fonda's early life offers a tapestry of modest beginnings and burgeoning creativity. Born into a family rooted in Omaha, Nebraska, Henry's father, William Bryce Fonda, carried the mantle of hard work and ingenuity. William began his career as a salesman for the Uneeda Biscuit Company, a position that provided stable but modest support for his growing family. Demonstrating an entrepreneurial spirit, he later transitioned to running his own printing shop in Omaha, setting an example of diligence and self-reliance for young Henry. Parallel to William's dedication to providing for the family, Elma Herberta Janes Fonda, Henry's mother, brought an artistic vibrance to her children's lives. Born in Wisconsin, and later relocating to Omaha, Elma developed a profound connection to the Omaha Community Playhouse, one of the region's fledgling centers of theater. Her active involvement in acting and community productions introduced Henry to the transformative power of performance. This exposure planted the early seeds of his later passion for the arts. As the Fonda household adapted to life in Omaha, William's business success provided a financial cushion, while Elma's theatrical pursuits illuminated a world of expression and storytelling. Known for her dedication, Elma's enthusiasm for theater intertwined with familial duties, offering glimpses of a blended life where practicality met artistry. This dual influence would later define Henry's ability to navigate both the uncertain world of acting and the grounded nature of Midwestern values. Although Henry's initial exposure to the arts began quietly through observation of his mother's enthusiasm, the Omaha Community Playhouse itself was a foundational institution in shaping the region's cultural vibrancy. It wasn't long before Dorothy Brando, a family friend, and mother of actor Marlon Brando, invited a young Henry to try acting himself. This foray into the Playhouse marked the formal beginning of Fonda's dramatic journey, tying his family's narrative to Omaha's artistic legacy in profound and lasting ways. Growing up in a home teeming with creativity, Henry Fonda shared a special bond with his two younger sisters, Harry McNeil and Roberta Jane, better known as Jane. Harriet, born in 1907, and Jane, arriving in 1909, completed the trio of siblings raised in a nurturing environment in Nebraska. Within their close-knit family, Fonda was affectionately called Hank, a nickname that endured throughout his life among both family and friends. This warm moniker symbolized the intimacy and camaraderie that characterized his relationships with loved ones. Their household, rooted in the Midwestern values of their parents, fostered emotional stability, an attribute that Henry would rely upon during periods of personal and professional turbulence. The familial bond was an unwavering source of strength and reassurance, integral to shaping his grounded and affable nature. Henry's connection with his sisters was particularly strong, ensuring that his ties to home and family remained steadfast no matter where his career took him. Although Henry Fonda went on to enjoy widespread fame on Broadway and in Hollywood, the memories of his early years with Harriet and Jane had a lasting impact on him. His sisters, along with their shared childhood memories, influenced his gentle demeanor and unassuming personality. Harriet and Jane's presence in his life guaranteed a lifelong link to his roots. It was in their company, surrounded by shared laughs and familial warmth, that Fonda first cultivated the interpersonal skills and emotional depth that later marked his screen performances with authenticity and humanity. The nickname Hank, bestowed by those dearest to him, followed Fonda throughout his life and career, underscoring the enduring affection he inspired both on and off the stage. This simple term of endearment became an enduring symbol of the unshakable familial bonds he maintained, a connection that grounded him even amid the heights of stardom. The creative energy and familial love from his Nebraska roots laid the foundation for the empathetic and everyman roles that Fonda portrayed, earning him the admiration of millions while keeping him forever tied to the memories and values instilled by his siblings and upbringing. As a young boy growing up in the Midwest, Henry Fonda displayed an innate gift for storytelling through writing. Even at the tender age of 10, his talent stood out when he won a short story contest, a recognition that celebrated his vivid imagination and ability to weave words into compelling narratives. This early achievement was a testament to his natural inclination towards the written word, a skill he continued to nurture with dedication. By the age of 12, after finishing his school day, Fonda would head to his father's printing shop. Here, amidst the hum of machines and the scent of ink and paper, he gained more than just employment. He began to understand the essence of perseverance and the value of hard work. These hours spent in the shop not only rooted him firmly in these virtues, but also allowed him continual exposure to the world of words and publications, further feeding his ambitions. Though Fonda later became better known for his acting, his initial aspirations were tied closely to the role of a journalist. Captivated by the power of the pen, he dreamed of a career that would let him bring stories to audiences everywhere. With this goal in mind, he devoted himself to enhancing his skills, spending hours honing his craft, and imagining a future where his storytelling would reach beyond the confines of his immediate environment. While life eventually carried him in a different direction, these formative efforts and ambitions laid the groundwork for the disciplined and artistic mind that shaped both his later pursuits and his legacy. Fonda's early educational years in Omaha were defined by his attendance at Dundee and Miller Park grade schools. These schools became the backdrop for his growing intellectual curiosity and burgeoning intelligence. Teachers and peers alike noted his eagerness to ask questions and his ability to grasp new ideas quickly. This environment allowed young Fonda to cultivate a love for learning that would shape his future endeavors. By the time he entered Omaha Central High School, Fonda's academic promise had firmly taken root. At this institution, he distinguished himself as a student with an insatiable appetite for knowledge. He excelled in various subjects, his natural interest in literature adding a creative depth to his academic record. Additionally, his awareness of and engagement with current events revealed a young man deeply in tune with the world beyond his immediate surroundings. Graduating in 1923, Fonda had emerged as a well-rounded individual. His performance in high school reflected not only his intellectual capabilities, but also his disciplined approach to learning. His teachers found him to be diligent, while his peers admired his versatility and thoughtful demeanor. One of the key influences of his Omaha education was the encouragement to think broadly and critically. It was an education that emphasized understanding rather than rote memorization, which encouraged him to explore new ideas fearlessly. The Omaha school system shaped Fonda in ways that went beyond academics. It instilled in him a sense of curiosity about the human experience, a quality that later informed the work he did as an actor. His education was not just about books and grades. It was a foundational journey that nurtured his creativity, expanded his worldview, and instilled within him a lifelong pursuit of meaningful knowledge. Attending school during the post-World War I period also exposed him to a time of social and cultural change, which likely influenced his understanding of the world in a profound way. The values of perseverance and intellectual exploration became the bedrock of a career that would eventually leave a lasting mark on American cinema and culture. After finishing high school, Henry Fonda enrolled at the University of Minnesota in 1923, setting his aspirations on journalism. With dreams of becoming a respected journalist and a strong passion for storytelling, he chose this academic path with ambition. To support his education, Fonda took on 2 jobs during his college years. He worked for the telephone company and also contributed as a physical education instructor at a settlement house. Despite balancing these responsibilities, Fonda maintained a significant commitment to his studies, showcasing his discipline and determination. However, financial constraints soon made his situation difficult. After 2 years at the university, in 1925, the economic pressures outweighed his ability to continue pursuing his journalistic education. Reluctantly, he decided to leave college and returned home to Omaha, Nebraska. Upon his return, Fonda initially remained hopeful of finding a career in journalism, still holding on to his initial aspirations. At this juncture, his aspirations took an unexpected turn. Encouraged by the mother of a local aspiring actor, Dorothy Brando, who was the mother of Marlon Brando, he became involved with the Omaha Community Playhouse. This marked the beginning of a new trajectory that shifted his focus from journalism to acting. What had started as a practical dream of reporting stories transformed into a passion for storytelling on the stage, opening the door to a career that would eventually define his legacy in Hollywood. Though initially reluctant to step into the realm of acting, Henry Fonda's life took a transformative turn when Dorothy Brando, a friend of his mother, urged him to audition for the Omaha Community Playhouse. The choice or circumstance that led him to that stage was deeply significant. Cast in the production You and I as Ricky, Fonda faced early struggles, grappling with his self-confidence as he tried to adjust to the craft and its demands. Yet, amidst these challenges, something extraordinary happened. He found himself drawn to acting not simply as a passing pursuit, but as an awakening to a lifelong passion. The sincerity and resonance of his performance didn't just surprise the audience and his peers, it also recalibrated how his family perceived him. Seeing him transform on stage, their initial disbelief gave way to admiration and understanding of his burgeoning talent. They rallied around him, providing encouragement that would embolden him to pursue the art further. A significant opportunity came when Fonda wrote a sketch for actor George Billings, a leading Abraham Lincoln impersonator, and joined Billings' tour as Lincoln's secretary. This marked his first substantial acting experience, allowing him to explore his craft and gain valuable stage experience. Touring with Billings exposed Fonda to diverse audiences and further ignited his passion for acting, cementing his decision to pursue it professionally. The experience was transformative, As Fonda learned the intricacies of performance and the importance of connecting with an audience, he observed the nuances of character portrayal and the dedication required to succeed in the theater. This early exposure to the world of acting not only honed his skills, but also deepened his appreciation for the art form. The tour was a pivotal moment in his life, shaping his future endeavors and solidifying his commitment to a career in acting. Fonda's journey had begun, and the stage became his canvas for expression and creativity. In 1928, Henry Fonda made a pivotal decision to leave his hometown of Omaha and venture to the East Coast, seeking to immerse himself in the world of theater and broaden his horizons as an aspiring actor. This marked the beginning of a transformative chapter in his life and career. Soon after his move, Fonda joined the University Players Guild, a summer stock theater troupe situated in Falmouth, Massachusetts. This group was a dynamic community of young, ambitious artists, many of whom would later achieve great fame in the entertainment industry. During this time, Fonda had the opportunity to collaborate with and learn from a talented ensemble that included the likes of Jimmy Stewart and Joshua Logan. These individuals not only became his colleagues, but also lifelong friends, shaping both his professional and personal journey. Among the many relationships formed during his association with the University Players, one of the most significant was with actress Margaret Sullivan. Their connection blossomed both on and off the stage. The two were romantically involved and eventually married in December 1931. However, their union was short-lived, ending in divorce after only a couple of months. Despite the brevity of their marriage, Sullivan remained a pivotal figure during Fonda's time with the Guild. It was during this period that Fonda honed his craft and began to establish himself as a disciplined and versatile actor. His performances caught the attention of peers and critics alike, earning him a reputation for his dedication and quick adaptation to the challenging demands of theater. With persistent effort, he made his Broadway debut in 1929, appearing in The Game of Love and Death, an important milestone that demonstrated the validity of his move to the East Coast. This early success reinforced his commitment to acting and set the stage for the influential career that followed. His time with the University Players Guild was instrumental in shaping his future as an actor and played a crucial role in laying the foundation for his subsequent endeavors in film and theater. The friendship between Henry Fonda and James Stewart began during their early days as struggling actors in New York in the 1930s. After Fonda divorced Margaret Sullivan, he moved in with Stewart, and the two young men formed a bond that would transcend professional competition and personal differences. Sharing a small apartment and meals, they supported each other emotionally and practically as they pursued their careers in theater and later in Hollywood. Their camaraderie was built on shared values and a deep respect for each other's craft. Although they had contrasting personalities, with Fonda being introspective and Stewart more outgoing, they balanced each other. Their vast political differences, Fonda a liberal Democrat, Stewart a conservative Republican, were never barriers to their bond. They resolved not to argue about politics to preserve their friendship. As they transitioned to Hollywood, they continued to be each other's allies in an industry filled with transient relationships. They even renewed their arrangement as roommates for a time when work took them to Los Angeles. Their shared love of hobby building, such as constructing model airplanes, highlighted a playful side to their relationship. They often spent quiet hours engaging in activities that allowed them to escape the pressures of their rising fame. Throughout their careers, their support for one another was unwavering. When one faced personal or professional challenges, the other was there, understanding the roller coaster that was Hollywood life. Their friendship endured despite distances, work schedules, and personal commitments. They appeared on screen together only once, in the 1968 film, Fire Creek, but they remained firmly connected off the set. Even as life's complexities grew with age and family, the two continued to find time for each other, rarely letting their bond waver. Fonda's death in 1982 marked the end of 5 decades of friendship, a loss that profoundly affected Stewart. Their story remains a remarkable example of loyalty and mutual respect in an industry often known for its fleeting relationships. In 1934, Henry Fonda took to the stage in a play that would transform his career trajectory and solidify his reputation as a compelling performer. The Broadway production of The Farmer Takes a Wife, adapted by Mark Connolly and Frank B. Elser from Walter D. Edmonds' novel Rome Hall, debuted at the 46th Street Theater. Fonda portrayed Dan Harrow, a humble, earnest farmer working along the Erie Canal in the mid-19th century. His nuanced performance brought the character to life with sensitivity and authenticity, earning widespread acclaim. Critics and audiences alike appreciated his ability to infuse the role with a sense of relatability and quiet strength. The production's success helped to cement Fonda's budding career in the entertainment industry. Under the direction of Mark Connelly, and complemented by Donald Unslager's evocative set designs, the show thrived during its Broadway run, marking a significant step forward for the young actor. Among his notable co-stars were June Walker, who played the spirited Molly Larkins. The chemistry between the two leads captivated the audience, elevating the emotional resonance of the play. This triumph on the stage soon caught Hollywood's attention. In a natural progression, Fonda was invited to reprise his role in the 1935 film adaptation directed by Victor Fleming. This big-screen venture marked Fonda's film debut, and transported him from the lights of Broadway to a wider cinematic audience. Paired with Academy Award-winning actress Janet Gaynor, who brought her own charm to the role of Molly Larkins, the movie reimagined the compelling tale for a broader audience while maintaining the sincerity and earnestness that defined Fonda's portrayal of Dan Harrow. The film's charm lay partly in its depiction of life along the Erie Canal, adding historical texture and humble settings that mirrored the story's spirit. Fonda's transition from the relatively confined world of the stage to the grandeur of cinema was seamless, thanks to his ability to adapt his heartfelt interpretation of Dan Harrow to the screen scale. The movie preserved the qualities that had made the Broadway production memorable, showcasing Fonda's talents as an actor who could connect with audiences in both mediums. His performance resonated with viewers, paving the way for a long and illustrious film career. As The Farmer Takes a Wife introduced Fonda to audiences beyond the theater, it also laid the foundation for his reputation as an actor capable of portraying earnest, straightforward characters. This role, which first brought him critical acclaim on Broadway, became a beacon that drew Hollywood's gaze, launching a career that would see Fonda emerge as a prominent figure in American cinema, celebrated for his understated charisma and compelling humanity. In the mid-1930s, Henry Fonda experienced profound personal loss when both his parents passed away within a year of each other. His father, William, succumbed to a heart attack, while his mother, Elma, died following complications related to a blood clot. This double tragedy weighed heavily on Fonda, profoundly influencing his outlook on life and his career. Though already setting out on his path as an actor, the sorrow of losing his parents at such a critical juncture in his life deeply shaped him. He often reflected with regret that they were not able to witness his rise to stardom in Hollywood, a success he knew would have made them proud. The weight of their absence was a burden Fonda quietly carried throughout his life, and he frequently pondered how different things might have been if they had been able to see him achieve his dreams. Their memory became an enduring presence for him, one that stayed with him through his many years in the film industry. Despite the acclaim and recognition he eventually earned as one of Hollywood's most celebrated actors, a part of him always missed the opportunity to share it with his parents. Their early deaths denied them the chance to see him in the spotlight, something that left Fonda with a lingering sense of loss and sadness. Even as he became known for his calm and steady demeanor, there was an undeniable depth to his persona that seemed to reflect the losses he endured at such a young age. His work often reflected a quiet strength and a vulnerability that hinted at the personal grief he carried. While he rarely spoke publicly about this aspect of his life, those closest to him understood how deeply he felt their absence. It was an open wound that never truly healed, influencing not only his private life, but also shaping the depth he brought to his roles on screen. What made this sense of regret even more poignant was how deeply Fonda believed in his parents' unwavering support for his dreams. Before their passing, they had encouraged his creativity and ambition, and Fonda often imagined how fulfilling it would have been to share his accomplishments with them. As he garnered fame for his iconic roles in films like The Grapes of Wrath and Mr. Roberts, he retained a bittersweet awareness of what he had gained and what he had lost. This perspective endowed him with a certain humility, anchoring him in a profound gratitude for the success he achieved, even as it remained tinged with sorrow. The passing of his parents not only affected Fonda personally, but also left its mark on his relationships with others. Throughout his life, he sometimes struggled to articulate his deeper emotions, a tendency that may have stemmed in part from the life-altering grief he experienced in his younger years. Yet, it also gave him a sense of purpose and determination to make his life and career meaningful. Their early departure made him keenly aware of the fleeting nature of life, and imbued his work with a sense of authenticity that resonated deeply with audiences. Through his performances, Fonda found a way to channel the emotions and memories tied to his parents. While the audience may not have known the specific pain that underlined his portrayal of certain characters, the authenticity and gravity he brought to the screen were unmistakable and unforgettable, revealing parts of his personal story in ways that words never could. The loss of his parents remained a quiet but persistent theme throughout his life, shaping the man he became both on and off the screen. As Fonda's fame grew, his unique ability to convey strength and quiet integrity made him a sought-after leading man. In 1938, he starred in Jezebel alongside Bette Davis, playing Preston Dillard, a Southern aristocrat whose sense of honor and dignity stood out in a film centered on fiery drama and deep emotional conflict. Critics praised his performance, noting how he brought a balance between calm steadfastness and deep emotional resonance, a hallmark that would continue in his career. By 1939, Henry Fonda solidified his reputation as one of the most respected actors of his generation with unforgettable performances in Young Mr. Lincoln and Drums Along the Mohawk. In Young Mr. Lincoln, directed by John Ford, he portrayed a young Abraham Lincoln with a depth and complexity that highlighted the early, formative years of one of America's most revered leaders. His performance revealed a Lincoln grappling with morality, humor, and justice, showcasing Fonda's capacity to humanize larger-than-life figures through subtle acting and nuanced expression. Later that same year, he collaborated again with director John Ford for Drums Along the Mohawk. This historical drama saw Fonda embody Gilbert Martin, a frontier husband struggling to defend his homestead during the American Revolution. The role allowed him to depict resilience and perseverance against overwhelming odds, earning widespread acclaim. Paired with Claudette Colbert, their portrayals captured the trials faced by young settlers in the Mohawk Valley with realism and heartfelt emotion. The film's beautifully shot Technicolor sequences only further elevated the prestige of Fonda's performance. Audiences and critics alike were drawn to his portrayals of principled characters, individuals driven by an unyielding belief in justice and fairness. Whether defending a legal case or standing steadfast in the chaos of frontier battles, Fonda displayed a unique ability to make his characters deeply relatable. This quality, combined with his understated acting style, ensured he stood out in an era rich with Golden Age greats. By bringing emotional depth and moral fortitude to his roles, Fonda had firmly established himself as one of Hollywood's most admired actors. Fonda's portrayal of Tom Joad in The Grapes of Wrath in 1940 was a career-defining role that earned him his first Academy Award nomination. His performance captured the struggles of ordinary Americans during the Great Depression, showcasing the harsh realities faced by families as they sought a better life. Fonda embodied the character with a deep sense of empathy and authenticity, making Joad a symbol of resilience and determination. The film, based on John Steinbeck's novel, highlighted the plight of migrant workers and the social injustices of the time. Fonda's ability to convey the emotional weight of Joad's journey resonated with audiences, allowing them to connect with the character's hopes and despair. Although he lost the Oscar to his friend Jimmy Stewart, Fonda's portrayal of Joad remains one of his most celebrated performances. This role solidified his place in cinematic history, marking the beginning of a remarkable career that would continue to influence generations of actors and filmmakers. In 1936, Henry Fonda married Frances Ford Seymour, a Canadian-American socialite who had been previously married, and was the mother of Frances Pan Brokaw Dapka. Their meeting took place in England on the set of the film Wings of Morning, marking the beginning of a relationship that would intertwine love, challenges, and significant contributions to Hollywood's legacy. The union brought forth two children, Jane and Peter, who would rise to fame in the acting world, establishing the Fonda household as one of motion picture royalty. Jane, born in 1937, and Peter, born in 1940, both inherited their father's talent for acting and became icons in their own right. Though their family life was deeply shaped by the trappings of fame and rich societal connections, it was also marked by personal struggles and emotional complexities. Frances struggled with the dual responsibilities of being a wife and a mother while staying in the looming shadow of Henry's flourishing career. Stories suggest that the pressures accompanying their roles within a high-profile family weighed heavily on their dynamic. Despite these struggles, Henry and Frances shared a deep bond. Their family's prominence in Hollywood became undeniable, especially as Jane and Peter grew to showcase their artistic prowess. Beyond her familial roles, Frances carried her own burdens, which unfortunately led to her tragic demise in 1950. Her absence left an indelible mark on her children and Henry, shaping their personal and professional journeys for years to come. When the United States entered World War II, Henry Fonda, already a celebrated actor, felt compelled to contribute more directly to the war effort. Despite his established career and the opportunity to remain behind in the safety of Hollywood, Fonda declared he did not want to be part of a fake war in a studio. Consequently, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1942 at the age of 37. His early tenure in the Navy saw him assigned as a quartermaster third class aboard the USS Satterley, a destroyer charged with protecting convoys and delivering naval firepower during operations. Eager to do more, Fonda underwent further training before being promoted to lieutenant junior grade. This new role saw him transition to the more specialized field of air combat intelligence. He was deployed to the South Pacific, where his work involved strategic planning and assessment of enemy movements, especially in campaigns such as those in the Marianas, Western Carolines, and Iwo Jima. His contributions significantly bolstered the Navy's ability to conduct successful air operations, earning him high praise and respect among his peers. Fonda's determination and exceptional service were eventually recognized with the prestigious Bronze Star, awarded to him for meritorious achievement in connection with military operations against the enemy. This medal symbolized not only his bravery, but also the substantial impact he had on mission outcomes in the Pacific Theater. He also received additional honors, including a Navy Presidential Unit Citation, which underscored his contributions to the collective success of his units. Moreover, his time aboard the USS Curtis further illustrated his unwavering sense of duty and his willingness to step away from the spotlight of stardom to serve his country during one of its most challenging periods. Fonda would later reflect on his military service as one of the most meaningful experiences of his life, highlighting how much pride he took in trading his actor's costume for a Navy uniform. Following the conclusion of World War II, Fonda returned to Hollywood with a renewed sense of purpose and discipline. While his military chapter might have seemed unlikely for a man of his prominence, it was a shining example of humility and commitment. His experiences during the war also informed and added depth to his later portrayals of military characters in films, further cementing his legacy both as an actor and a patriot. Returning to Hollywood, Fonda starred in iconic films like My Darling Clementine, where he portrayed the legendary lawman Wyatt Earp. This role marked a significant moment in his career, showcasing his ability to embody complex characters with depth and authenticity. His post-war roles often reflected a more mature, weathered persona, resonating with audiences who admired his depth and realism. Fonda's performances were not just about delivering lines. They conveyed a sense of experience and understanding of the human condition. His ability to connect with viewers made him a beloved figure in cinema. As he took on various roles, Fonda continued to captivate audiences, whether in dramas or westerns, each performance adding to his legacy. His reputation as one of Hollywood's finest actors was solidified through these compelling roles, as he became a symbol of the evolving landscape of American film in the post-war era. His work during this time remains influential, reflecting the changing attitudes and themes in society. In 1950, during her stay in a mental institution, Frances Seymour, the second wife of Henry Fonda, and the mother of Jane and Peter Fonda, ended her life through suicide. Struggling for years with significant mental health challenges, she ultimately passed away at the age of 42 by slitting her throat. Frances' death marked a profoundly tragic chapter, not only for herself, but also for her family, severing a bond of security with devastating impact. At the time of her death, her children, Jane and Peter, were only 12 and 10, respectively. Henry Fonda decided to keep the details of their mother's fate hidden from them. Instead, they were told that she had died due to heart failure, a narrative constructed to shield them from the unbearable weight of the truth. Jane later discovered the reality of her mother's death in the pages of a movie magazine, a shocking revelation that added layers of grief and confusion to her young mind. Frances had endured a deeply troubled life, exacerbated by her fragile mental health and tumultuous marriage to Henry Fonda. In 1950, just 3 months before her death, Fonda had sought a divorce, further escalating her emotional distress. Within the confines of the Craig House Sanitarium in New York, where she sought refuge, her struggles reached their tragic conclusion. Reports suggested that Frances had long dealt with bipolar disorder, a condition that went largely misunderstood in its era. Her pain culminated in her final act, a devastating end that punctuated her journey. For Henry Fonda, her death was a source of profound sorrow, and guilty tenant he grappled with the weight of the circumstances surrounding it, a burden that silently followed him through his life and career. Although outwardly composed as one of Hollywood's revered actors, Fonda's private life bore unhealed scars. This tragedy gnawed at the relationships within his family, creating a chasm of silence and unanswered questions. His choice to keep the truth hidden not only shielded but distanced him from his children at a time when they needed connection and clarity the most. For Jane, growing up without understanding the reality of her mother's struggles created an enduring sense of confusion and loss. Later in life, as she delved into her own mental health and historical analysis of her family's relationships, Jane expressed how her mother's suicide shaped her identity. It challenged her to confront a narrative marred by complexity, one that seemed to taint the warmth of familial bonds with unresolved pain. Peter Fonda, too, expressed his sorrow and enduring difficulty in grappling with the memories. He reflected on how the silence surrounding this tragedy stifled his understanding of his formative years. The generational impact of France's death lingered silently, influencing not only the Fonda's emotional trajectories but also Henry's legacy. The tragedy underscored the vulnerability and struggles behind the silver screen that many Hollywood families faced, but rarely revealed. Later in his life, Henry Fonda married Susan Blanchard, a union that began in December 1950, less than a year after the tragic loss of his second wife, Frances Seymour, to suicide. Susan, a young socialite who was the stepdaughter of Oscar Hammerstein II, brought a sense of youthful vigor into his world. At the time of their marriage, Fonda was 45 and Susan was just 21 years old. The age difference, though notable, did not deter the couple from starting a family. Together, they adopted a daughter, Amy, in 1953. Susan took pride in her nurturing role within the marriage, often referring to herself as a geisha, emphasizing her dedication to maintaining harmony in her relationship with the actor. However, her meticulous efforts couldn't fully alleviate the complexities and emotional struggles Fonda carried, both from his personal tragedies and his deeply immersive focus on his career. Their marriage lasted 6 years, a period marked by both personal and professional evolution for Fonda. During their union, they lived briefly in locations like Rome, attempting to balance the rigors of Fonda's acting career with the semblance of family life. Yet the cracks became apparent. Susan's role as a unifying figure could not bridge the gaps that existed between them, rooted in both their age difference and their differing views on life. By May 1956, the pair decided to part ways, marking the third time the acclaimed actor would experience the dissolution of a marriage. The split echoed a recurring theme in Fonda's life, a relentless search for balance between his career and his desire for companionship. Despite his marital challenges, his role as a father remained significant. Adopting Amy represented his commitment to creating a family, even when emotional divides loomed large. Susan, on her part, transitioned from their separation, eventually remarrying, though she retained an enduring legacy as the third wife to the iconic actor. Their fleeting marriage, set within the colorful tapestry of Hollywood's golden years, witnessed Fonda navigating his journey of personal growth and professional engagement while weathering the inevitable trials of love and loss. During the late 1950s, Henry Fonda played a pivotal role in the timeless legal drama 12 Angry Men, released in 1957. Not only did he star as the steadfast Juror 8, but he also produced the film, showcasing his commitment to projects that left a lasting impression. The movie was adapted from a successful 1954 teleplay written by Reginald Rose. Fonda's performance as the lone voice advocating for fairness and careful deliberation in the jury room captured the essence of social justice, a theme that resonated deeply in the narrative of a young man's trial for alleged murder. Juror 8's refusal to conform, insisting on discussing the evidence thoroughly to prevent a potentially innocent teenager from being wrongfully convicted, underscored the integrity and determination associated with Fonda's characters throughout his career. The production of the film itself was remarkable. Directed by Sidney Lumet, making his feature-length debut, 12 Angry Men was completed seamlessly within a short span of just 17 days. The single location setting magnified the intensity of the story, focusing entirely on the 12 jurors. Fonda's calm, yet commanding portrayal of Juror 8 exemplified reason, morality, and persistence, portraying a character undeterred by the heated and often biased opinions of his fellow jurors. His ability to methodically debunk the evidence presented in court and instill a sense of doubt in their conclusions turned the tide of the case, slowly unraveling prejudices and assumptions within the jury. Critical reception echoed the significance of Fonda's contribution, both as a performer and a producer. The film was lauded for its thought-provoking exploration of the American justice system and the responsibilities of a jury, encapsulating themes of justice, equity, and the fight against systemic biases. 12 Angry Men offered a raw portrayal of human psychology, emphasizing the potential for one person to lead by example and inspire critical thinking, even amid overwhelming opposition. It earned several notable accolades, further cementing its status as a classic. For Fonda, the project was more than a production. It was a reflection of his dedication to meaningful cinema that provoked conversation and introspection about society's moral compass. In 1965, Henry Fonda married Shirley Mae Adams, marking the beginning of a union that would bring stability and companionship during his later years. Shirley, a former flight attendant, stepped into the role of a steadfast partner at a time when Fonda was transitioning into the later phases of his life and career. Their marriage came after Fonda's earlier relationships, which had been marred by instability. With Shirley, however, he finally found the enduring connection that seemed to elude him in his previous unions. Shirley's presence became a cornerstone in Henry's life, especially as his health began to falter. Fonda struggled with significant health challenges, including heart disease and cancer, in the years leading up to his death in 1982. During this time, Shirley became much more than a wife. She was his primary emotional and physical support. She was by his side, offering unwavering care and a sense of normalcy as he navigated the difficulties associated with his declining health. Her commitment during his illness demonstrated the depth of their bond and the strength of her devotion. Their life together was not just defined by caregiving, but also by shared moments that reflected the quieter joys of marriage. Fonda, who was known for his reserved personality, seemed to mellow in Shirley's company. The two appeared at public and private events together, showcasing a union that prioritized partnership, mutual respect, and affection. Friends and family noted that Shirley managed to create a home environment that allowed Fonda to find peace and stability, a sharp contrast to his earlier, more turbulent personal life. Shirley's enduring love and care made an indelible mark on Fonda's later years. When he passed away in 1982, she was there, fulfilling her role as a devoted companion until the very end. Their marriage, though less talked about in public compared to Fonda's illustrious acting career, remains a significant and cherished chapter in his personal history. In 1981, Fonda received an Academy Award for Lifetime Achievement, recognizing his contribution to American cinema. That same year, he starred alongside Katharine Hepburn in On Golden Pond, a film about aging and reconciliation that deeply resonated with audiences. Fonda's performance won him his first competitive Oscar, a fitting tribute to his lifetime of work. The film's theme of family reconciliation mirrored Fonda's own life, making it a poignant and unforgettable role. The story explored the complexities of family relationships, particularly between parents and their adult children. Fonda's character, Norman Thayer Jr., faced the challenges of growing older while trying to connect with his daughter, played by Jane Fonda. This personal connection added depth to his performance, allowing viewers to see the struggles and joys of aging. The film's success and Fonda's heartfelt portrayal left a lasting impact on audiences, solidifying his legacy in the film industry. In the 1981 drama On Golden Pond, Henry Fonda delivered a compelling performance in his final theatrical film, sharing the screen with his real-life daughter, Jane Fonda, and the iconic Katharine Hepburn. The movie explores the complex dynamics of relationships, particularly the father-daughter bond, set against the backdrop of a lakeside retreat. At the heart of the story is Norman Thayer, portrayed by Henry Fonda, an aging and irascible professor coming to terms with life's closing chapters, whose relationships with his family are fraught with tension and unresolved emotions. Henry's role as Norman Thayer resonated deeply, as its essence mirrored some truths of his own life, particularly his strained relationship with Jane. The film allowed the family to artfully navigate real-life reconciliation. Jane Fonda played Chelsea Thayer Wayne, Norman's often estranged daughter attempting to bridge the emotional distance with her father. Purchasing the rights to Ernest Thompson's original stage play, Jane saw the project as a way to create not only cinematic, but personal healing. Working side by side, their chemistry captured the true texture of an imperfect, yet transformative familial bond. The rawness of their performances added authenticity to the narrative, garnering widespread critical acclaim. On Golden Pond successfully illuminated themes of aging, reconciliation, and redemption, weaving a tale that deeply resonated with audiences. These themes sparked a stronger connection between Henry and Jane, allowing moments of healing both on and off the screen. Mark Rydell, the film's director, masterfully brought these stories to life. Katharine Hepburn, cast as Norman's loving yet resilient wife Ethel, complemented Henry's portrayal through her unwavering support, poetic deliveries, and honest characterization. The trio's performances elevated the film's emotional depth. Henry Fonda's ability to embody the gruff yet vulnerable nature of Norman earned him numerous accolades, including an Academy Award for Best Actor, which secured his legacy as one of Hollywood's finest actors. On Golden Pond leaves an indelible mark as both a timeless piece of cinema and a significant personal milestone in the lives of its cast, particularly in the journey of Henry and Jane Fonda. In creating Norman Thayer, Henry Fonda gave a layered, heartfelt performance that not only earned him critical recognition, but also gave him one final opportunity to reconcile with his daughter in a uniquely powerful and enduring way. Henry Fonda left an extraordinary legacy that endures through his body of work and his deeply influential presence in Hollywood. Known as one of the most prolific and respected actors of his time, his career was defined by a dedication to portraying characters of integrity and complexity, making him a model of moral fortitude on screen. His nuanced performances in classics such as The Grapes of Wrath and 12 Angry Men secured him a revered place in the golden era of American cinema, captivating audiences with his ability to embody honor and humanity. Beyond his artistic successes, Fonda's influence extended profoundly into his family. His children, Jane and Peter Fonda, became iconic actors in their own right, carving distinct and memorable paths in the entertainment industry. Jane Fonda, known for her Oscar-winning performances and passionate activism, followed the ethos of commitment to meaningful roles, a value instilled in her by her father. Peter Fonda, meanwhile, contributed to the counterculture movement with his work in Easy Rider, becoming emblematic of a new wave of storytelling that redefined the cinematic landscape. This inheritance of talent carried on into the next generation, with grandchildren like Bridget and Justin Fonda continuing to participate in Hollywood, demonstrating how Henry Fonda's ethos remains alive within the family. Fonda's approach to acting and life shaped not just those who shared his lineage but also countless others in the realm of performance. Actors studying his work find themselves inspired by his precision, depth, and commitment to the truth of his characters. His ability to reflect the complexities of human nature ensures his place as a timeless figure in the study of performance art. Furthermore, his influence stretches into the teaching of cinema and acting methodologies, where his roles are often used as benchmarks for excellence in character-driven storytelling. As a cultural icon, Fonda also represented the enduring values of decency and reliability, qualities that became critical touchstones in the narratives he chose to explore. These values resonated in post-war America, offering audiences a sense of stability and moral resilience during tumultuous times. His roles often painted a picture of the everyman, navigating principles and justice, which mirrored societal challenges and an evolving collective conscience. In addition, Fonda's connection to theater, particularly the Omaha Community Playhouse, highlights his roots and his steadfast belief in the transformative power of the arts. Early experiences with play production helped shape his understanding of performance, and he maintained fondness and support for the stage throughout his life. The charisma and humility in his interpretations ensured that his characters were both relatable and aspirational, thus bridging the gap between actor and audience. Through his lifetime of achievements and the enduring impact of his roles, Henry Fonda set a high bar for authenticity and care in storytelling. His unwavering pursuit of artistic excellence, combined with his personal integrity, framed a generational influence that extends well into contemporary acting practices. The Fonda family's multi-generational contributions to Hollywood stand as a living tribute to his legacy, showing how his ethos continues to inspire a profound and ongoing dialogue in visual and narrative arts. Though best remembered for portraying the quiet strength of the American everyman, his career, which spanned over 50 years, was marked by an intention to reflect deeply human stories rooted in honesty and ethical exploration. A native Nebraskan, Henry Fonda brought his earnest Midwestern upbringing to roles that personified moral righteousness and contemplation. From an exceptional performance in The Grapes of Wrath to his profound delivery in films like 12 Angry Men and On Golden Pond, His characters were much more than vessels of entertainment. They served as mirrors to societal conscience, challenging viewers to evaluate their own principles and decisions. Across countless roles, Fonda had an uncanny ability to slip into a character's psyche, offering performances that were understated yet extraordinary in their emotional depth. His mastery of subtlety left his audience impossibly close to the characters they watched on screen, embodying the bright idealism and unyielding tenacity often demanded of his roles. Rather than conforming to trends, he cultivated a naturalistic acting style, a notable precursor to later modern methods that emphasize realism over grandeur. This unique approach did not merely entertain, it forged connections, pulling audiences deeper into the moral fabric of the stories he chose to tell. Henry Fonda's legacy extends beyond film into his extensive theater work, debuting his craft on the stage before conquering Hollywood. His choice of roles was deliberate, as he sought to depict stories that mattered. He often represented individuals navigating moral uncertainty or standing firmly against harsher societal wrongs, embodying roles that needed quiet resilience rather than theatrical heroism. Whether in star-studded ensembles or as the understated leading man, Fonda's artistry reshaped American cinematic storytelling. Moreover, his influence reached beyond his own performances, as he played a pivotal role in paving the way for his equally influential children, Peter and Jane Fonda. Together, the Fonda family would hold an enduring place in Hollywood history, seamlessly blending their father's sense of artistic integrity with their own unique paths. Fonda also inspired generations of actors and audiences with his work ethic and commitment to his craft, leaving an indelible mark within an industry often driven by fleeting glamour rather than enduring substance. His portrayal of universal human struggles reflects an artistry that defies age, underscored by the wide critical acclaim and various honors his work garnered. Films from his career remain timeless, with elements of his performances transcending both generational and geographical divides. Indeed, Henry Fonda's performances continue to resonate deeply, even decades after his passing in 1982, reminding us of the profound power of art to move, instruct, and inspire.